and there's a lot of trade rumors heating up, particularly with the Orlando Magic. One we know about, and then one that we don't kind of know about. I'm going to throw you a curveball. How do you feel about one, the week that Aaron Gordon has had? He dropped 38 points against Brooklyn the last game. How do you feel about all the trade rumors surrounding Aaron Gordon?
Well, when healthy, like he can have some standout games anyways, but he has been playing like extremely well, which we've seen a lot of players do in the past when trade rumors seem to be really heating up. It's almost like the player will put themselves on display either to prove something to the team they're already on or to possible teams they could go to. But I think Gordon and the Magic are just possibly ready to move on from that situation. Um, for whatever reason, we just haven't been able to get a really good team together until just maybe recently this year, and then injury plagued us, of course. So Aaron Gordon is like a pretty promising talent, but I I just don't think he's the go-to guy. And like what he's doing right now is fine. It's just like, but you're not gonna get that from him all the time. And but he could definitely help a contender. And I'd like to see what maybe he can do in a different environment, even though I'm a fan of his. But we just have like almost like a log jam. And having Isaac, who is eventually going to come back, is we want to be able to give him. I feel like all the time he needs because he shows tons of potential as well. So I don't know. I don't think Gordon sticks with the team after the deadline. I think he's like gone, and I hope it all works out. I hope there's not like ill will, but some fans are a little crazy. So
Yeah, you guys are 7 years into the Aaron Gordon experiment. So at this point in his career, I mean, we even said this to each other a couple of years ago. What he is what he is. Like I don't see him being that transcendence type player to lead you guys to a championship, yet alone even a deep playoff run. So I think the ship has sailed. I think he knows that the ship has sailed, and that's why, from what I'm hearing, he actually gave the Magic permission to look at other avenues for him. He asked to be traded, pretty much, in a low key way. So that's what I've been hearing out of Orlando, and because of that, they're going to ask for a lot of pieces in return. So I think both parties have come to the agreement that it's better off to move on. So now it just depends on who's going to bite on any package that the Orlando Magic is looking for Gordon. We've heard the Timberwolves, we've heard the Trailblazers, we've actually heard Houston with the Magic eyeing a reunion with Victor Oladipo. So there's a few teams out there who have been sending out feelers to the Magic for Gordon, but I think a change of scenery would be good for him. All those teams I named are pretty good for him. But I think Portland would be the best shot right now for him to make an impact. How you feel about Aaron Gordon to Portland?
in terms of just Portland getting some help, I think it looks good for them. Um, Dame's definitely putting together an impressive season. It seems like they can't get a really solid, like long term 1-2 punch there that just works the whole time, or at least stays healthy and works the whole time. I guess there's always been some like moving parts there where they haven't been able to keep it together all playoff long successfully. I guess. Um, so I'd like to see, just as a fan of like that team, I'd like to see what he adds to it for sure. I think that seems the most interesting to me compared to like the Timberwolves or maybe even the Houston trade, even though I wouldn't mind getting Oladipo back. That's just me. I'm a fan, but um, I don't know. The West would be interesting for him. It's just a completely different conference. So just as a fan perspective, I'd like to see like kind of what he looks like on Portland.
Got it.
What do
Yeah,
you think?
I like him to Portland, actually. I think that's a good move. Portland's trying to get another big, so I think that'd be a good move for them. Either him or a reunion with LaMarcus Aldridge. But I think Portland would be a good landing spot for him. And also, he went to school, I believe, in the Phoenix area. Um,
Arizona.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Phoenix Suns are looking to make a move, and that leads us to our next little Orlando Magic rumor. Here's the curveball. There's rumors that they're going to call about Vucevic. Now, how do you
Hmm.
feel about Vucevic going to Phoenix? Do you think he can impact that team, who is currently doing very well in the Western Conference?
I think like any move that Phoenix makes at this point to bolster up, um, just deepens the, the idea that they can go deeper into the playoffs. I guess because right now they're a really strong team, but the playoffs are such a different picture that you need that playoff experience. So as a team, you have Chris Paul there, so that affects things greatly, of course. But anything extra just adds to the idea that they can make a deep playoff run, even though that team is new to the playoff picture altogether. Because I think playoff experience as a team is super important for like actually making it deep. But uh, if I mean, it seems like to get Vucevic, uh, it'd be a multi-team deal or something because the Magic aren't going to let Vooch go without something great coming back, or at least good, very good, and better than any of the things I've heard so far. Because they're asking a lot for Gordon, and they're acting like Vucevic's not even available. So if you're asking a lot for the guy that everyone knows is available, then you better be able to give up something massive for the other guy. And Vooch can add more than Gordon or whoever can to any team right now. So I don't know how that would go down without Phoenix giving up too much or just getting another team involved.
Yeah, it could
So,
be
but
there.
I hadn't heard of that one. I was going to ask you what you thought of the Fournier rumors that he might get traded and where you thought he might go.
They've been trying to trade Fournier for the last 3 years. Let's just be real. Just to put a cap on the Vucevic trade scenario, Houston could actually be a third team with that. Um, what did you hear about Fournier? Because I didn't see his name this week. Did you see
Not
anything, Cocker?
a specific team, just that is possible. I thought I saw possible trade
Dude,
rumors
they've
for
been
him.
trying to trade Fournier for the last 3 years.
It's probably just like some fans making it up and being like, please get rid of Fournier.
Dude, Fournier could go to a team like San Antonio, like Charlotte, and do great. Look, he's not a bad player. You know, I'm a fan of his. He's actually a great guy. Vucevic, all three of them are great kids. One thing about the Magic that I've seen is where, and I sent you a couple of screenshots this week, is where people are saying, okay, let's blow up the team, let's rebuild, yada, yada, yada. And from the outside looking in, it's like, okay, the Magic have been rebuilding now for about 6 years. And it's like, at what point do you get sick of that? Like it would drive me crazy if my team took 6 years to rebuild. Like it would absolutely drive me crazy. I guess in that sense, I'm a little spoiled. But how do you feel about another potential rebuild for the Orlando Magic?
uh, I mean, it's not like I'm looking forward to it. It's just another long time I have to wait for us to possibly be successful, but it might be a different rebuild than what we've seen before. I mean, the Vucevic has been our anchor because he's basically him and Fournier have been around the longest since like the Dwight Howard era. Excuse me, I think. So it seems like we've always, in a way, tried to build around him a little bit, from draft picks to bringing in other people. But I mean, if you bring in new management from like the top down and you start changing things up and it just doesn't work again, whether from injuries or the way the players are getting along to the age to money to all these things, it's just I'm not looking forward to it. But at what point, like, what else can we do? Like, we're just gonna, okay, keep trying this for another 5 years, get nowhere, and then do a rebuild. It just, better now than later. And it seems like we had potential this season. Seems like we've been building towards that potential for 2, 3 years with getting Fultz and getting Isaac. But every time it just falls apart. And Fultz can't seem to stay healthy. Isaac can't stay healthy. We're at the bottom of the league this year. We're going to get a high draft pick, and we have Aaron Gordon wanting to leave. Vucevic's getting older. Fournier's getting older. It's like, how long can we do this? It's not that we want maybe to do a rebuild, but what choice do you have? The current management seems like it has a better control on things than the last one with Hennigan, but we can't stay healthy at all. So we're wasting years. And so they have to change their plan, I feel like. So
Yeah.
even though we're looking to get rid of Gordon, probably I say they probably keep Vooch unless they get some massive overhaul deal, which I don't think they'll get. So you try to put pieces around him again for a few more years and see if it works, I guess. I don't
At,
know.
at what point, and this will be my last question about this, at what point do you look at Steve Clifford and say maybe we need another possible coaching change? Because so far he's been Teflon and all this. Like, people aren't really looking at him as a possible issue. Um, does that begin next year where people start looking at Steve Clifford as maybe you're not the guy for this team?
Maybe he'll keep getting passes, I feel like, if the team isn't healthy,
Mm,
because it's hard to blame the coach. But we've seen in the NBA in the last, decade or so, that doesn't always earn a coach longevity either, an excuse. How many times have you just texted me and been like, why did this coach get fired? Like, it doesn't
right,
make any sense.
right,
It's like
right.
nothing that's happened is this guy's fault. Coaches have gotten fired for less. So I don't think it's, maybe a few more years out, but it wouldn't surprise me if, they tried to close things up in a year or two. Like, you just don't know.
Yeah, because
Um,
he's been there already. I think it's his third or fourth season, so it's like he's been there for a little while now, especially for the
mhm.
Magic, who has a history of turning over coaches. So it's like, okay, this guy's kind of reaching the end of his rope as far as longevity with that franchise based on their track record. So I was just curious about that. So